There is a need for a two-pronged approach to the situation that our airports are currently in, Minister. One is to get clarity on international travel on and off of this island, and the second is the need to put a stimulus package in place to sustain the aviation industry over time. We have to recognise, Minister, that the COVID-19 pandemic will be with us for the long term, and we need to plan accordingly for that. Too many livelihoods are at stake. There was a recent article in the Irish Times highlighting how the aviation sector got us out of the last recession due to its huge economic contribution to our society, both in terms of its airports, such as the one in Cork, which we are here to discuss today, and the aircraft leasing business. If we do not act now, it will not survive this recession, Minister. The passenger numbers at Cork fell by over 95% during the lockdown compared to the previous period in the previous year. Air traffic is not expected to recover until 2019, and I think we need until 2024, Minister. And I think it's absolutely urgent that the government will act now to ensure that a proper recovery plan is put in place for the aviation sector.
First of all, I want to thank all the deputies for raising this really important issue, and I am acutely aware that as an island nation, Ireland is particularly dependent on air connectivity, both socially and economically, and aviation plays a critical role in our economy. However, due to the coronavirus, global aviation is currently experiencing its most challenging crisis, more severe than 9/11 or the global financial crash, with many analysts predicting that it will take several years for the sector to return to 2019 levels. Irish aviation stakeholders are fully exposed to the resulting dramatic downturn in activity, and it is clear that COVID-19's impact on aviation will be prolonged, and this will affect their long-term financial health. I have met all key aviation stakeholders, and officials continue to engage with airports and airlines on a continuous basis. I'm particularly concerned at the recent announcement by Ryanair of the possible closure of their bases at Shannon and Cork, and also media reports that Aer Lingus might relocate aircraft from its base at Shannon. These are commercial decisions of the companies concerned, and it should be noted that the routes scheduled for the winter season at Shannon and Cork have not yet been finalised. In order to assist businesses and further protect employment, the Government has put in place a comprehensive suite of generalised supports for companies of all sizes, including those in the aviation sector, which includes a wage subsidy scheme, grants, low-cost loans, commercial rates waivers and deferred tax liabilities. Liquidity funding is also available through the ISIF Pandemic Stabilisation and Recovery Fund. The existing support mechanisms available for the aviation sector will be reviewed in the context of the Government's plan for international travel. In line with priorities for regional development, the Government is also maintaining subvention for air services for the regions. Approximately €2.5 million in Exchequer funding is being provided for capital investment in the areas of safety and security for Donegal, Ireland West, Knock and Kerry airports. A new regional airports programme for 2020 to 2024 is being prepared, incorporating a number of support schemes for our regional airports. Shannon Airport has been provided with an emergency grant of over €6 million to complete its hold baggage screening project, a safety and security requirement under EU regulations. Legislation has been introduced to provide a state guarantee for refund credit notes issued to consumers of Irish licensed travel agents and tour operators who have had to cancel holiday bookings. This guarantee ensures that where a credit note is accepted by a consumer, then its monetary value is secured until such time as it is used in the future. These supports notwithstanding, our airlines and other aviation stakeholders have had to make a number of difficult decisions themselves in order to best ensure their long-term commercial viability. These decisions have focused on areas such as redundancies, laying off staff and the potential closure of operational bases, all in response to account for the significant reduction in their operations. Industry has also introduced shorter working schemes which have reduced both hours worked and levels of pay received by their staff. The Aviation Recovery Task Force set out recommendations for consideration by ministers and government on what needs to be done to assist the Irish aviation sector to recover from the COVID-19 crisis. The task force reported that their report contains a number of recommendations which have been highlighted how they have been affected by the almost complete shutdown of international travel. I'm almost finished, last year. The Recommendations include measures to sustain the industry for so long as travel restrictions are in place, and also measures to help stimulate and return to growth when the time is right. The Government has already implemented several of the recommendations, including the publication of safe air travel protocols. We've progressed a European slot rule waiver for airlines in consultation with the European Commission, and the wage subsidy scheme was extended to April 2021. And just finally, the other recommendations include further targeted financial support to help reinstate connectivity as they're being examined by Government. Work is required to develop these recommendations into effective interventions, and work is underway. And it will feed into the Government's further plans to aid broader economic recovery, including in the aviation sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Laskin Corla. I think the final point I want to make in terms of the task force report that was provided to the Department of Transport very clearly stated that there is a strong requirement almost for the state to intervene in our airports to ensure that they will be able to survive this pandemic. There are people out there who are extremely worried about their livelihoods. They were perfectly fine up until this pandemic came upon us, but I think the Government must step in and provide a comprehensive plan as how they're going to rescue this sector. It will be unacceptable for connectivity on this island, our economy and our society to allow a major failure in this sector, and I would strongly encourage the Minister to do something about it urgently. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy. So very briefly, I'll try to keep to time. So just in relation to the travel agents, I have engaged with them. I've written to the Taoiseach, Minister for Enterprise, and also the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform in relation to supports for them. In relation to Aer Lingus workers, protecting jobs and employment is an absolutely key priority for this Government. You can be assured of that. And just to quickly answer some of the other deputies' queries there, the Government are acting on public health advice and has been adopting a very cautious approach to international travel. The Government is currently finalising a new medium-term roadmap for living with COVID, which will include its approach to international travel. And the Cabinet Subcommittee on COVID is meeting tomorrow, and it's envisaged that plans for international air travel will be considered under that process. And we need to explore whether the introduction of testing for COVID in the context of international travel can provide an alternative to the restrictions and allow for the reopening of international travel. And that medium-term plan will be discussed by the Government next Tuesday at Cabinet and published shortly thereafter. So you can be assured that there is a huge amount of work happening across Government, led by the Taoiseach's office, different Government departments feeding into this, including my own department, the Department of Transport, in relation to international travel. I've already highlighted the importance of connectivity for our island, regional connectivity, and protecting jobs, and ensuring at the same time that we are safeguarding public health. So, Deputies, I want to thank you for raising this issue. I know it's a real concern for all of you in your constituencies, for the workers, and we're here to try and protect jobs and at the same time ensure that we have that connectivity, but also be highly aware of ensuring that we protect our citizens in relation to public health. Thank you.